Today for the live broadcast over at New Orleans East Hospital with LCMC and the things that they're going to be doing every last Wednesday in the month with the farmers market. All of you all were waiting for it. That farmers market, boy, took off quick, fast, and in a hurry. It's had about 200 to 400 people. That's a big margin, but of course, early folks got out there and late folks got out there. So there's a lot of folks. A lot of folks. So I'm glad to hear you all came out and did your do. I got a chance to watch some of the news last night. I don't know if y'all got a chance to watch the news. Let me start from the beginning. I just had so many people that called me about the commentary and the conversation that we had yesterday about this millage. Even had some folks to call in and listen. I'm telling everybody, make sure you vote for it because I understand it. There's a lot of folks that think they're making a difference, and I'm not trying to pick on you or tell you not what to do, but I will tell you this: don't have that money. Don't have that money next year, and you're gonna find out the wrong way what it was really there for. The wrong way when you don't have money to hold them, don't have money to feed them. And you know what I'm thinking too, and everybody disagree with me or agree with me on this one. Make sure you call me and tell me what you think. I was having a conversation this morning with some of my political friends. Some of my political friends, and they were telling me, they were like, Gerard, you know what's the problem? I said, what you talking about? I said, well, one of the problems that you may be having here, trying to make sure that, Susan can do what she can do, it is the fact that you got a lot of people that don't like the fact that Susan, in her ability to run that jail, treating them people that's locked up like they people and not treating them like the old crew used to treat them. And I was like, what? Yeah, the old crew just want to lock them up, put them in jail, and leave them be. Not do all the things that she want to do with getting them, health care and treating them like they're people. I was like, boy, that's interesting. I said, y'all think that? It was like, yeah, they think that. Yeah, well, yeah, they think that. I was like, nah. Say even a certain class of people. It's like, nah, I don't believe that. You believe that? I don't believe that. I just think people have a difference of opinion. How about that? But anyway, uh, it made me think about it. One of the things too that I wanted to talk about in putting it together, so that you'll be in the know, is to start giving you some of the meetings and stuff. So the coalition, um, there is a coalition of community and faith-based leaders that are coming together on Friday. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but they're coming together on Friday, and they're going to be having a conversation about this millage. So this Friday at 10 a.m., they're going to denounce a wave of false and misleading information that's going to be circulating and has been circulating ahead of the May 3rd millage renewal. So the sheriff is going to join the press conference to stand in solidarity with leaders who are demanding truth and transparency for the people of Orleans Parish. So that is going to happen tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. The controversy centers around those no new taxes, those yard signs, whoever's putting them out, urging people to vote no on the 10-year millage renewal, despite the fact that this is not a new tax. The measure simply renews the existing property tax at its current rate, which is 2.46 mils. And what is unclear is who's behind the yard signs, who's putting them out. Because it's actually illegal because the no group or individual is claiming responsibility. So we don't know if this is a hit job because she's running for office or if this is somebody that just don't understand. So, or is this somebody that is, throwing a rock and hiding the hand? We'll find out. Find out before it's all over with. But that's going to happen tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Hopefully you'll be paying attention, seeing it online, and also seeing it on the news. I know it's going to be broadcast through social media as well in its entirety on the OPSO Instagram site. So make sure you check it out, all right? The other thing, too, that I was... I had a long, prosperous thought. And I want to know how you feel about this. Aren't you tired of the shenanigans that are being played? The shenanigans in politics that are being played. So I told you all yesterday that I wrote a pretty in-depth commentary. And I did. I wrote a commentary that kind of includes and probably looks at leadership and politics, our leadership in politics, and castigates many of them. What? Yeah, castigates many of them. Well, what you mean, Gerard? It castigates a lot of leadership that are calling themselves our politicians. And I'm not going to change what I said. What? Yes. It's pretty in depth. And yep, there's a lot of castigation that's going on. And it ain't cute. I can almost guarantee that the majority of you will say, yeah, you got that one right. Yep, you got that one right. So I need you to comment on my piece. Because the no is not cute. It's not to just talk about one thing in particular, even though I did pick what I wanted to write about. I did. I did pick what I wanted to write about. And who I wanted to write about. And it's not a short piece, it's actually in depth. Y'all ready? I'm going to read it more than one time today in this afternoon because I know I need to put it in perspective for those that are paying attention now and those that are going to get in their car later on. So I'm going to probably read it this hour, and I'm probably going to read it next hour. And in the famous words of some folks, you have to tell them, Jacqueline. I met Jacqueline yesterday. Jacqueline got her some watermelon yesterday. Yellow watermelon. I'm telling all Jacqueline's business. Hey, Jacqueline. And maybe need something that is needed to be said. After I read it, I want to hear from you all and tell me, what was it too explicit? Did we pull the trigger? Or should I went in a little deeper? What you think? So here it is. It is my commentary for the day. The focus of New Orleans by some elected officials seems to start and end with the French Quarter. This is not a commentary to criticize those who live and work in the quarter, but maybe an eye exam for those elected to represent their constituency in other parts of the city. Think about it. Your city council president is raising holy hell about trash pickup in the quarter, but has not said one damn thing in 3 years about restoring your twice a week trash pickup that you have been paying for years. If you're so concerned about the money, give us an estimate on how much of a refund each person and each household on their water bill is owed. Your personal vendetta toward Troy Henry is so overwhelming it's really making you look Jenny womanish. Instead of giving the entire city of New Orleans an update on how we are preparing the city for these heated temperatures that we're going to experience this summer. It's called pre-preparation before it happens, since the council is the regulator of Entergy New Orleans. Have you required them to give you updates on showing up on the grid and what's been projected as what needs to be fixed? They have no problem asking for a rate hike, and this council always voted to give it to them. Are you preparing the people of New Orleans for possible disappearing federal funds to help us pay those electric bills during summer times for people that can't afford it and have to choose between food, medicine, and staying cool? If any questions about contracting should be investigated, I would like to know how a city council member who is a regulator and part of that agency, which is called the city council, can also be the attorney representing the agency in court. Your name is on the paperwork as the attorney, as filing motions for the regulator. sounds unethical. As the city council president, what's your plan to help this administration secure more funding to complete or even start road preparation and repairing on our streets that need it the most in New Orleans, like Franklin Avenue? And since you're concerned about contracting, why not add some constituent provisions to these contracts, like time to complete a project, paying attention to the quality of work, and even getting answers for residents that are being hampered in their travels? Each council person has education, housing, and other funds that could be used as initiative or as incentives. These business owners should be hearing from you on why they should be expanding their plans in other parts of the city. Grocery store shopping should expand. Clothing, electronics, home goods, and more should be the focus of each council person, supported by the president and vice president of the council. So at least there should be at least 3 office incentives being put together on major projects. It's unbelievable that y'all are working in silos, everybody doing their little thing and nobody helping the other. And it's unbelievable that our divisions stop us from being united. You'd be surprised on the number of people you represent that would like to see unity. And it's pretty evident the council doesn't like the mayor and vice versa. Worst part is your disdain for one another cost us time, economic development, and your offices are less than 20 feet across the hallway from one another. Whatever happened to talking? Doesn't it bother you that there is a report that comes out about a $36 million mistake for the Orleans Parish School Board and we lose a superintendent, but there's no clarity in the report to say what really happened? Was it just a slip up of the pen, or is the money missing before we supply the board another $20 million? I find it interesting that the council president was dogmatic about the cost to lease one of the city's apartments over at the Pentauba. And you said we were losing money. It was $40,000 that we were going to be losing because you don't like the mayor. But ask no questions, no demands for copies of financials, or demands for an audit from the school board. The blame immediately was placed back on the mayor. If you look at the exit of the superintendent, why pay out her contract, give her the remaining balance of her salary for the year, but also have her sign a non-disclosure agreement? That sounds like a payout over $500,000, but we saw the council have a real issue of $500,000 with the Hall of Fame project. Can't have it both ways. If you got a $500,000 project problem with the Hall of Fame, you got a $500,000 project with this issue. The OPSOP superintendent, that issue sounds like you're protecting someone from being outed. But the Walk of Fame, we just let the draws flap in the wind on the clothesline. Think about it. I got more. We ain't finished. We are not finished. We got more coming up in a minute, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
I'm David Patan Sr., owner of Whole Water and Food Over Medicine Academy, coach, consultant, and instructor. We're excited about our 21-day challenge. Stop, prevent, and reverse disease today. Cholesterol, diabetes type 2, high blood pressure, along with chronic illnesses and diseases. We believe that the gift of wellness is the greatest gift, and for $30 per month, $1 a day, you could have this gift for you and your family.
I'm Phyllis Washington, and I've benefited with health and weight loss.
For your gift of $30, healing and wellness can be yours. Call 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. The Whole Water Store. See you at 2135 Washington Avenue today.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Somebody just asked me, said, are you criticizing the council? I said politicians. I'm criticizing our leadership for our politicians. And I'm saying to you, I'd like to see at some point in time where our mayor works with our city council and our city council works with our mayor, instead of this farce of these things called, what do they call it? Strong mayor, weak council, strong mayor, or whatever that is. I don't know where y'all got that crap from. We need a strong council. Strong don't make you ignorant. But some of the stuff that's coming out of here today, boy, I got to tell you, it just makes me shake my head. And let me go back to this commentary because I wasn't finished, but I do want to talk about this, though, where we keep hearing about the money for the Orleans Parish School Board. First thing we heard was $36 million that seemed to be a mistake. We made an accounting mistake. Did y'all fire the accountant? Because if I'm not mistaken, the accountant is connected to the school board. $36 million mistake? But doesn't it bother you that when this report came out, we lost our superintendent who had started doing some good things, even started getting schools outside of that charter school system. But there's no clarity about the report. Was it just a slip of the pen? Or is it the money missing before we supply the board another $20 million? So I find it interesting that our council president was dogmatic about the cost of the lease the city would be making, on the Pentalba. We have to pay. Oh my God, you can't do that. You're taking away people's money. This is the city money for the Pentalba, Madam Mayor. But you never asked anybody else that. And the demands of the copies of the financials for who's staying there, the questions that we saw in the news, the video cameras we saw. But what about the copy of the financials for the $36 million? $36 million that supposedly disappeared and went poof. What about the demand for an audit to make sure that there's no problem? No questions. Shh, y'all quiet. The blame immediately was placed back on the mayor. And then it became a fight of, well, you can't afford to do this, then we're going to stop you from traveling. Overreach. Been declared at least 3 times. If you look at the exit of the superintendent, why pay her out her contract give her the remaining balance of her salary for this year, but also have her sign a non-disclosure agreement and pay her out of her contract for the remaining years. But you signed a non-disclosure agreement. This sounds like a payout of over $500,000. But we saw our council have a problem with a $500,000 project called the Hall of Fame. You can't have it both ways. If you got a problem with a $500,000 for this Hall of Fame project, why don't you have a problem with this this project called her salary that she's not going to complete, that they're going to pay out? See, the OPSB superintendent, that issue sounds like you're protecting someone from being outed. But throw it all out there when it came to the Walk of Fame. What makes this council not support the renewal of the OPSO millage? Well, what are you talking about, Gerard? Have you heard any of them say, we support this OPSO millage? Because you all are the ones that got to deal with the budget. See, a full report is provided to the full committee every month on what it takes to run more than this one division of duties of the sheriff and all the issues that she's responsible for. I even heard one of the city council folks ask the sheriff, why you got so many people in that jail? I paused. Because they came back, and I'm like, wait a minute. Let me look at this council. We got 7 people on this council. 4 of them are attorneys. Why is that relevant? Because as an attorney, you should know that she's not responsible for putting the persons or a person in jail. That's not her full responsibility. Her responsibility is housing that person until their court date or until they can be released on a bond. But was that same question delivered to the folks that lock them up? The magistrate judge just sentenced them, gives them a bond. The arresting agent, like NOPD, Louisiana State Police, ICE, the feds, did you ask them why they put them in jail? Or any other arresting agency? This millage is not new funding. It's a renewal. What's not being stated is that a federal judge is making you accept a mental health jail that they are building right now. And please, y'all, stop thinking that it's okay. Yeah, let them do it. Let them do it. Let it do it. Because when it's built, you got to pay for it. What? Yeah, that big monstrosity that's going to hold 80 or more folks that need mental health help, you're going to be responsible for it. You got to pay for it. Pay them back. So where were the signs and the outspoken persons when this came about? Nobody said nothing. It was quiet. Is this a political issue? Looks like candidates bidding for the office even support the renewal of the OPSO millage. But why aren't the elected officials also speaking up for money that is needed? Because they're going to have to deal with it too. Because the minute that none of the services are going to be provided for the churches or going to be provided for the social groups or going to be provided for any other thing that the sheriff says, hey, we're going to support it, family events, trust me, it's going to be loud. So no matter how this commentary is received, no matter how it's received, we as a community have to be more aware of expectations instead of unimportant mess and distractions. We are headed for some hard times in the future. Y'all don't know what's coming. Me neither. But how we prepare now could be a decision process that can be life or death for your loved one as well as you. As well as you. And I hope that everybody understands why I wrote that today, because I'm like, man, we got some issues that we're not paying attention to. And we got distractions alongst the way. What you say, Cedric?
Man, again, I cannot wait until we see people's campaign statements to see who's been paid, to see which pastors have been paid and by who, or which ministries, because they can give checks to churches, and and to see who are they giving to, and then we can find out why certain people will come on WBOK and talk against supporting a millage that's renewable. You know what I mean? It's reoccurring to support the criminal sheriff's office duties. It ain't to go in her pocket. It's for salaries. It's for upkeep. It's for it's for that, even for community service, as you give the example. And every sheriff did that. When the past sheriff was a sheriff, he gave. He and his staff set up tents and all that. So, first of all, to the men and women of the Sheriff's Department, thank you for doing a great job. To our men and women of the New Orleans Police Department, thanks for doing a great job. To the voters of this city, pay attention. Follow the dollars, and then you'll see why people act the way they act and support what they support. Gerard, as far as little Benedict Morrell, I don't know why you'd have a problem with the mayor doing anything with this $30 million bill that you trying to inflict upon the citizens that comes from the school board with no accountability.
None.
As I close, again, Madam Mayor, who I don't agree with everything, but I don't agree with a man like J.P. Morrell being disrespectful to her. Say what you want to say as a man and move on. Ask them, the city council president and vice president, whoever they have investigating you, Madam Mayor, you tell them, have them same people investigate where that 30-something million is, and once you come back to me, then we may be able to give to the school board district.
Yep.
Because I know her travel to Pablo and all that don't amount to none of no $30-something million.
Nope.
And thank you, man.
Yep. I appreciate it. Thank you, brother. All right. What you say, cousin?
Hey, cuz, how you doing?
Good. What's happening with you?
Hey, you said a mouthful, said a lot. We don't have time to deal with each other's items, but this is what I want to say. As it says, you need to let the general public know there's a formula. Security guard versus number of prisoners. He has to make sure her security officers are safe. And if she cannot do that, she got to let out those I call less danger, but she must maintain the safety of her officers. And she needs to pay them because that's a job that most people don't want. I do not want a job where I need a key going and coming. And some of the guys are very dangerous. That's a special job for a special breed of people. And our general public need to understand that. It takes money to run a prison institution. And we don't even talk about the doctors and nurses that they have in prison, the psychiatrists, the teachers that have to teach those, because you have a mandate that those that are under 80 have to be taught on a regular basis. For the trash, so I want to talk about that. We do not have the small tin cans anymore. We have the one that sanitation people pass out. That could be dumped by the truck. You got a lid from a lip.
Something wrong with your phone. We can barely hear you. Something wrong with your phone.
Oh, well,
What's
I
wrong with
can
your
call you
phone?
back if you're not hearing me.
That sound like you talking to me through a cup and a string.
All right. How
There you
about
go.
this?
There you go.
All right. I had you on speaker. All right. I apologize.
Go ahead.
Okay. With the trash can, we had talked about we're doing the negotiation part about cans. We got larger cans to hold more trash, and that the truck could flip them to take and empty them. Now, tonnage went up where they used to dump trash at. The trucks needed replacement, and we cut a deal that one pickup per day. And most people, and I'm saying most, do not have a whole trash can full of trash anyway. But we need to do our recycle, and that'll help reduce some of the I call waste of throwing stuff away. But we have to remember we cut a deal with the sanitation people. And another thing they talked about, small
Who
businesses
cut a deal with
use
the
our regular
transportation people?
transportation people to pick up their trash.
Who cut a deal with the transportation people?
Oh, I'm gonna just say the city did many years ago. This is not a new discussion that we having. You know, you're talking about that 2 trash pickup, and we had those
That
smaller
wasn't a deal
cans.
that we cut. That was not a deal that was cut. That was put into a contract by your ex-mayor Landrew when he wrote the contract. Not us. That was his sanitation people that wrote the contract. We ain't cut no deal. You and I ain't had nothing to do with that. They cut the contract. We're not asking us nothing. But go ahead. I'm listening.
Well, I say I'm finished. I just let you know that there was a deal done about the 2 pickups per week versus the 1, but the sanitation people gave us those big cans, those plastic cans. We used to have aluminum cans or tin cans, smaller
So
size.
that ain't true either. So let me go ahead
Yes,
on and
it is.
no, it's not.
We had smaller cans, G.
I'm telling you that is not a deal that was put in place. If you wanted to get that contract, the vendor was responsible for getting the trash cans, not the city, not us. Those trash cans that were there were suitable. As a matter of fact, they were actually collected by Alvin Richards and his group and put into a location on the West Bank where people started complaining because he said that they were stinking over there. But what he did was collect those trash cans to put them over there to wash them. And then that's when the negotiations had started up for a new vendor.
Well, I remember we did have a discussion about that because that was one of the things that she was talking about. Your money, what we paid for trash collection was going to go up. I remember that.
You said what now?
So we,
You said what was going to go up?
What we paid for trash collection because what we're paying for tonnage at the dump site.
Over at River Birch.
Yeah.
You're talking about at River Birch.
Yeah. Well, they had 2 other places that they used to use, but I'm just saying that price went up.
So they use River Birch. So a lot of folks don't know that the city of New Orleans has 4 vendors when it comes to sanitation. It's 4 vendors, not 3. It was back then, Alvin Richards with Richards Disposal. You had Jimmy Woods with Metro Disposal. You had what's his name with Ivy Waste, which was another name back then. But you also had another one, and that was River Birch. So we had a contract with River Birch, just like we had contracts with the rest of the sanitation folks. And we had the contract to be able to dump back there. It wasn't free. We had to pay for it.
But see, at one time, the city was picking up the trash themselves.
When was that?
Oh, that was some years ago. The city was picking up trash. We had trash collection twice a week. No, garbage collection twice a week and trash pickup once a week. Yeah, I'm taking you back some years.
Yeah, but that was not a contract that was put together that was being held by 2 African-American trash collections, and before them, guess who we had? We had Waste Management that was picking up your trash, and it was Jackie Clarkson who stated that their service was so bad that she didn't ever want Waste Management to ever be the trash collector for the city of New Orleans ever again. So that's when they bidded out those trash contracts, and they were won because Ray Nagin is the one that wrote the contracts and said sign them for Richards Disposal and Metro Disposal.
Yeah, the two black contractors.
That's when all hell started breaking loose, and it has not stopped. It never stopped until they lost those contracts.
Yep, and they were the two largest contract holders that the city had employed or under contract.
And if you think about it, they were larger than Sidney Torres.
Mm-hmm. And look, this is the last comment I'm going to make about the Arlington Parish School Board. You know, there's charter schools, managers, or owners, or either one you want. Each of the school board members have charter schools in the area, and some of those schools is what we call under enrollment. But to keep them, they did so that the elected school board members would get their so-called campaign money. The school board managers with Dr. Williams, there was an under-budget error that was created because they didn't get the money that they were supposed to get. And the easier person to get away, do away with, was her. So that's why they paid her the money that she would have normally got, and with the disclosure, because she would have had to tell on all those charter school persons who had the under-enrollment schools. The birth rate in New Orleans been down. Even before Katrina, the birth rate for school enrollment been down. And it just, being publicized more now than before. We got some more schools going to have to close because that formula that they have, student per administration ratio, is you have to balance it off with the number of counselors and social workers and all that you need to run a school. So it's going to be more to come with school closures. But she was the fall lady for the tobacco that the school board got themselves in by keeping those schools open when they should have closed them a long time ago.
Well, I don't know if that's the case because I don't have that information. But
I can tell you because I know some of the people who was involved with it.
You know everybody, so I'm
because
just trying to tell you.
When you're my line of duty, or work, shall I say?
Yes, indeed.
And you privileged to certain information.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate you,
cousin. All right. Thank you.
I'll talk to you later. All right. We got to take a break. We'll take the break here. We'll come back, have some more conversation with you in just a few minutes. Everybody, hold tight. More coming up in just a minute. T-Bone, hold on. More coming up, y'all.
I'm Leo Jackson, host of Sunday Gospel here every Sunday morning, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. and 12 o'clock till 2 p.m. You don't want to miss this move of God. It happens only on WBOK. You listen to all day long.
NOLA Public Schools is excited for the rest of this 24-25 school year journey with our families, watching our students dive into learning, growth, and success. As the school year continues, our dedicated educators are focused on keeping every student engaged and motivated. Let's keep embracing new challenges, celebrating achievements, and supporting each other to make the rest of this year even more impactful. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS through our social media channels for updates and resources. We're here to help our scholars attend today, achieve tomorrow.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
WBOK. Listen now on WBOK1230.com.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
Folks, right back at you. That's what we do. We get right back at you. What's going on, T-Bone?
Hey, good afternoon. How y'all doing?
Good, brother.
So I meant to call the other day, but I couldn't hang in there. The problem you're going to have with selling a millage, and I'm saying it like this, and you're going to understand why when I say it like this. The problem you're going to have with selling a millage to this particular city is just like the other caller was talking about, times in the past when deals got messed up with waste management. When you had millages in the past that was supposed to pay for this, pay for that. And those of us that remember some of these millages are like, now this is the conservative part of me, brother. Don't judge me. We hear new taxes. We hear more taxes. And it doesn't go towards what they say they're going to pay for it with. So, just a suggestion. If you guys are going to stump for this thing, you're going to have to be more succinct, more simple in showing, not just saying, and this goes to the politicians as well, showing what this millage is truly, truly going to go towards. Because, see, us taxpayers, especially in this city, we fed up. We tired of hearing, oh, this is going to help with this, and this is going to help with that, and then you pull the rug from underneath us like you're trying to be Houdini. We're fed up. We're tired of hearing that things are going to get fixed, and we don't see it. We really are. We really are. So, to the politicians out there that's trying to sell us something again, do better. Show better. Because otherwise, we ain't falling for the okie doke. And by the way, I also meant to ask this, and maybe you can ask this to another DNC person when you get them on the program. I want to know what the DNC is doing to keep Donald Trump from running a third time. They need to put legal action up.
They can't.
They need to do something. They have to, brother.
No,
He's
I'm
gotten
saying
away
he
with
can't,
too much.
He can't run a third time. It's against the Constitution. He can't. He can say that all he wants to. He can't.
A convicted felon should not have ran for political office, for the highest office in the country, and he's sitting there right now.
That ain't in the Constitution. That what shoulda, coulda, woulda is not in the Constitution. But what is in the Constitution is you can't run another third time, a third term. You can't.
He's already trying to bump the Constitution right now. Every time you turn around, he's challenging the constitutionality of anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps calling the Supreme Court to be on his side. I mean, when does it stop? When does the DNC stand up for this country like they say they're going to? I mean, honestly, something needs to be done, because otherwise he's going to turn it into what he wants it to be, which is an authoritarian regime.
So,
I'm just saying.
I'm with you.
Wake up, y'all.
I'm just looking at this stuff that is happening with this regime, and I can see everybody's getting tired of it. And everybody's sitting there with their hands in the head and going like, Lord have mercy, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. But I do see a lot of folks that are starting to get up and make some noise. I think last week we had over 1 million people across the country that were out protesting. I know that we are now seeing some of the Republicans that are crossing over with some of the Democrats with some of the things that are being said. All this stuff about, sending Americans to El Salvador and all this other stuff. I mean, this is distractions. We ain't going. You ain't going.
But here's the problem. This is just his first 100 days. if things calm down, people tend to forget because they forget that he did stuff bad during the first administration. They have selective amnesia about what went down with January 6th. People just act like, okay, no, I ain't worried about that. And, oh, that don't affect me. COVID turned the whole world upside down on its head. And who was heading this country and didn't know his head from his ass? This dude.
Mm-hmm.
You think he's going to do better?
No.
Really? I just don't understand. But take it to what I'm saying with a grain of salt, brother. I'm going to listen to your response. Thanks.
No, I gave it to you already. I know it's going to get worse before it gets better. Now, I will give you a response about, showing who can do what and who can do whatever. So as far as being able to show, what you want to see? You want to see a new car? You want to see new equipment? You want to see the recruitment that's going on for the deputies? You ain't paying attention to that because it's been in your face. It ain't nothing new. It's been in your face. What has come out of this administration, and I want you to understand something, this is not a tax that just started and we're trying to get more money. No, we're just trying to prolong what's there because their city council will not fund what's needed. So they put up a millage, 20, 30 years ago? This is just a continuation. She tried to get more money out of a fund. I think it was 2.4 mils to 2.8, and you all said no. So she just said, instead of trying to get something else out of it, let's just keep the renewal so that we can get somebody to come work for this jail, so that we can get more money for qualified deputies, so that we can get the equipment that is needed. Do y'all know they didn't have radios? So if somebody, which I know they got a lot of women that work in that jail as well, and they're on a pod with men, and by some chance they get caught up in a situation, they don't have no radios to ask for help. That money paid for some radios. If somebody is trying to shoot, grab their gun and shoot them, they got new vests. There's a whole lot of stuff. I know incidents in the jail are 50% down? Why? Because she went and got tablets for them to be able to learn something on them, be able to learn, get your GED, get the chance to talk to your family who comes over to the data recording center to visit with you and have a FaceTime with you. You don't have to go move around, cut down on the number of folks that are moving. Why? Because those folks can go to the data center and hit the button, and basically it'll ring that phone. It'll ring that tablet. So they ain't got to move around. Incidents in the jail since that purchase have been cut to 50% less as far as incidents are concerned. Y'all remember, and I know T-Bone said, you remember. Well, let me give you a remember. Y'all remember how bad it was at one point in time? Where they had guys escaping and doing YouTube videos out there on Bourbon Street and in the French Quarter. Y'all remember that? If you don't, go to YouTube. You can see them. They're still up. But this wasn't under this administration. That building was built in 2014, 2015? Who okayed that building to be what it is? Then had to replace lock after lock after lock. They had to remove the hooks that was supposedly holding up the shower curtains in the bathroom. Why? because they were hanging themselves. None of that's going to make the news. She's trying now, and I'm saying I'm talking about the sheriff. She's trying now to make sure that she can get the shield that would go between the roof of the building inside to one of the holding rails so they won't be able to jump off the second floor and commit suicide. This thing is not prisoner proof. There's a whole lot more that I could tell you, but I'll probably spend the next hour doing it. All right, we got more coming up, y'all. We got to take a break here. We'll take our break. We'll come back. Okay. All right. So I'm just trying to tell you that we have a whole bunch of stuff that needs to be repaired, a whole bunch of stuff that needs to be happening for next year. And I know that the city council ain't going to do it. Yeah, city council ain't gonna do it. Y'all remember JP's dad, Arthur Morrell? He's still around. But I'm gonna use him as an example, which I think that's the only thing that these folks hear. But Arthur Morrell didn't play that crap. See, they didn't fund him right either. As a state agency. Oh, yeah, by the way, the sheriff's department, a state agency. But the city council didn't fund him right either. So guess what he did? Arthur Morrell is also a lawyer. And Arthur Morrell used to go right on up to the courthouse and file a lawsuit against the city council to get the money that he was supposed to get. And he would get it. I didn't want to have to go. I didn't want the sheriff to just have to go through that. I was just basically telling them, go with your millage. Don't ask for more money. Just ask for it to be renewed so that you can have what you need for next year. And guess what? For the other folks that are running for this office as well, they saying the same thing. We need that money. I support the millage. The other candidates are saying the same thing. They support the millage. Because guess what? No matter who wins, they're all going to be without if this millage don't pass. Now, to be able to show you something? All right, let me throw this into the mix to show you something. Because I didn't know we had show and tell in law enforcement. But let me go ahead on and show you something. If it wasn't working, you wouldn't have as many people in that jail being held. You'd have them out there on Bourbon Street making YouTube videos. Because that's been cut out. I didn't know if you knew. How about that? Is that a good show and tell? All right. Well, coming up, y'all. We got to do our news here, and we'll come back with some more telephone calls.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
I'm Esther Dillard with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Police in the Miami area have taken one suspect into custody after responding to reports of gunshots at a car dealership. Video shows a large police presence, including a SWAT team and Florida Highway Patrol troopers. There are reports of multiple people injured. A man is facing charges related to starting what is now a massive wildfire in New Jersey. Police say 19-year-old Joseph Kling faces 1 count of arson and another charge of aggravated arson. The journalist mistakenly added to a group chat that talked about military strikes in Yemen will meet with President Trump. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said he's meeting with the person responsible for many, quote, fictional stories about him, unquote, later today. And Lil Wayne is set to headline his first show ever at Madison Square Garden. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. Welcome back. Final hour here for a Thursday. They said it's supposed to rain today. Did it rain? Did it rain? It didn't rain? It didn't rain. I think they said it's supposed to be raining now. It rained on the West Bank? Okay. All right. So I can tell you that we basically probably dodged another one today. I hope it don't rain later on either. I'm hoping not anyway. So we have a dilemma. T-Bone, call me back. If T-Bone call me back, cause I'm gonna ask him a question. I really do have this question for you, bro. I ain't being funny either. I want to ask this question, and I want you to answer it for me. Call me back. 504-582-9422. Cause this might be something that you need to hear. And I hadn't thought about it this way, but since he said it that way, maybe I ask that question and then he can tell me. And I know he's sitting back there going like, I ain't calling him back because, he going to try to be an ass with me. No, I'm not. T-Bone, I really ain't. I'm serious. I got a question. Because it would make a difference if probably you would know the intricacies of getting a budget together, getting your budget under control, and having somebody like Bianca Brown. See, I know I'm important because I can call him by name. I'm being funny. But Bianca Brown is, and I don't want to call her the new CFO because she's been there for a minute, but she is the person with the machete. And trust me, she putting it together as far as what's being spent, what can be spent, what ain't being spent. No is her favorite word. And getting the budget under control. So my question to T-Bone is, would you feel better if I could call her or have them to tell us, what have we done with the budget? What do you want her to show? Do you want her to show the equipment and everything that she got? Do you want her to tell you about all the training that you had to pay for? All the certifications now that she's making as a requirement to be an OPSO deputy. And then the other thing too is, do you want, and what do you all want to see come out of that office? Maybe we ask everybody that. What do y'all want to see come out of the office? More patrols? You want to see them do patrols? Like NOPD? You want to see them more in the community? Like NOPD or better than NOPD? Do you want to see them in community meetings? Because I do. Because everything that I'm just asking you, I'm being facetious because I already do. You just don't go to the community meetings. I can remember the day, and I'm going to say this to everybody, and y'all going to agree more than disagree. I can remember the day when we had a community meeting, and everybody would show up. You go to a community meeting today, and you lucky that 10-15 show up. Why? Well, they're just going to say the same old, same old. Is that really it? Because if you think that they're going to say the same old, ask a question that they can't say the same old, same old. What you want to see? I think you got to be able to get this, I want to say, open mic conversation out here and stop repeating crap that you heard, but not stuff that you know. Oh, they should have did this. Oh, they should have did that. Because I got to do a comparison. Y'all ready? I know this is going to get my phone to ringing. But I'm going to say it. You ready? Some of this is a whole bunch of bigotry. Some of this is making some of y'all feel like y'all doing something because you asking a woman what you gonna do, what you did with this. But ain't none of y'all as Marlon Guzman doo-doo. Is that because he a man? Because this same millage was right through him too. Come on, answer the question. She didn't invent this millage. She ain't been here but 3 years. As of May, she corrected me yesterday. I ain't gonna let her correct me today. 3 years in May. She didn't invent this millage. That's a 10-year millage. That thing was under Guzman for at least 2 years. I'm sorry, 2 terms, which, that's what, 8 years? Why don't we question it now? Y'all passed it. Just this wasn't a question. We just passed it. Oh, go on, pass it. But y'all saw the house of detention? You ever been in the house of detention? How many of y'all know what I'm talking about when I say the HOD? The house of detention. I ain't talking about the current jail. I am not talking about that. I'm talking about the house of detention. They don't even use that building no more. You ever been in there? Marlon Guzman took me on a tour of that facility. I was like, are you kidding me? No air conditioning. You in a cell in 96 degrees. And I'm thinking to myself, you should not want to do nothing bad just for the fact that you had to stay in here. And I said to myself, boy, please don't ever let me have to come in here. But if you had to, now here go the other part that I'm going to put out there. If you had to go in, or you know somebody that had to go in, how you want them to be treated? With some type of humanity? Let's say that's your son or your daughter that has been arrested and they getting ready to have to go be booked in that jail. I said, oh boy. Can you imagine how many telephone calls on a weekly basis come down to folks that you know that have some type of, that they just have some type of, I guess, connection to somebody at the jail, and they call them. And look, I'm not making this up. I get the calls too. Man, I ain't heard from. Man, I can't get to. I don't know why they in there. Can you check for me? Mm-hmm. I can't get them out. I don't get into that part. I can't get them out, but I'll check. Just check and see for me. Oh, okay. Somebody gonna call me this week. Man, my son, my daughter got arrested, and they down there at the jail. Can you check on them? Because I ain't heard nothing from them. Okay. I could have sworn I heard the sheriff say that yesterday. Didn't she say that yesterday? I think she said that yesterday. That every week she gets somebody calling her. So how about, I'm just using this as a scenario. How about if there was no air conditioning, it was a house of detention, it was all the death, fights, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And all of a sudden, you wondering why? Well, we couldn't prevent it because we had to make sure that we had enough deputies and enough people to be able to work that jail and those pods with equipment. If we don't, okay, I got one. Let me give you another one. Because here's what I do think. I haven't said this one, but here's what I do think. I think that there are powers that be that do want to see that jail close. Might be from the capital area that don't want you to vote for that millage. What's going to happen? They're going to start using OPSO as a little holding cell. And then every day or every week, everybody that's got to be held before their court date, they're going to be shipped to Angola. They want them to go to Angola. Y'all think about that for a minute. They're already trying to take over New Orleans anyway. I don't want y'all to have that jail there because, that's just, somebody trying to treat these people like they got some type of compassion and stuff. And I like for them to just be shipped off to Angola. We get paid for them to go to Angola. The state gets paid per day. I don't know if y'all knew that. I think it's like $24, $24 a day. Now think about that for a minute. $24 a day. If I held you and kept on continuing your case for 6 months, a year, past a year, I'm getting paid to hold you. And if you got federal charges, I'm getting paid to hold you, plus I'm getting those federal charges. Or, here's another one now. I could ship you to that big old monstrosity of a jail out there in Plaquemine Parish. Y'all know about that jail, huh? State don't own that jail. If I'm not mistaken, that is somebody getting paid to run that jail. And think about this. If I wanted to sponsor and be able to give the state some money, I can make a deal where, guess what? We'll fund your jail in Baton Rouge. We'll fund your Angola. We'll fund Louisiana State Penitentiary. We'll fund it. But you got to make a deal with us. Well, what's the deal? You have to keep that jail at least 80% full at all times. If you don't, then you got to pay us back. Don't you know in every jurisdiction that they're going to put out the word that we want them folks, put them in jail and ship them up here. Put them in jail, ship them up here. The powers that be do not want to see nobody staying down here and held in a facility like OPSO because it ain't jail, prison. It's not prison.
So I
it's
got a
jail.
question. Well, I had a relative of mine who had gotten in trouble for a weed charge, and they kept him in jail for X amount of days until the DA got their money. And I was talking to you off the air, but that's why they keep you in jail so long, right?
Wait a minute, say it again.
All right, so I had a relative of mine who had got in trouble for a weed charge, and they kept him in jail for like days before, even before somebody got to him to see what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep you in jail for a certain amount of time so they could get that money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got you.
So think about something. If I keep you in jail for a certain period of time, the state or the feds are usually giving a benefit of $24. I think it's 24. It's either $23 or $24 a day. The other charge is if I have too many people on a docket in court, then they're going to have to find the date that's available for you to be able to go to court. Each person that is in Orleans Parish Jail is actually innocent until proven guilty, and that's their court date. They're being held because they either were not given a bond or they can't bond out because they don't have the money. But each person in that jail, until they go to court and a jury or a judge finds them guilty, they innocent. So, all right, I'll tell you more. All right, we'll take some telephone calls too. Oh, I feel like I'm teaching today. Ain't that something? I told y'all I learned a whole lot. 504-582-9422. Everybody get on the phones. Let's have this conversation. I didn't really want to have to say all that. I thought that we could have the conversation about the millage and how good it is and da-da-da and da-da-da. But I'm telling you, y'all, we are in a situation where times is changing, and locking you up is business these days. All right, more coming up, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Constellation Brands, the company behind Modelo and Corona beers, is making changes to a supplier diversity program in a move that could make a big difference to black workers up and down its supply chain. Bloomberg Equality reporter Jeff Green says that Robbie Starbucks singled out Constellation Brands after another popular beer brand dealt with conservative backlash.
When Bud Light had its issue with a transgender influencer, they were the beneficiary, and his point was, well, why should we let this, DEI supporting company benefit from another DEI supporting company unless they're willing to give up DEI? That was the case he was making to conservative buyers.
Both Modelo and Corona recently experienced a surge in popularity due in no small part to people of color. We'll see what the DEI policy changes mean for Constellation Brands going forward. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Real issues, real talk.
Real Solutions. Miss an episode of The Reality Check? You can catch every episode anytime. Search WBOK Media on your favorite podcast app to tap the bold commentary, real-time reactions, and powerful perspectives from the people and leaders shaping our city. Download, share, and rate it 5 stars because the real ones always stay informed.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. Welcome back. Welcome back. So here's your scenario again. You and saying, oh, about this, who's putting out these different stories about this millage? Y'all think about something for a minute. Who's the benefit if we can't fund our own jail? Who's the benefit? I could use something that happened in New Orleans. And most of you didn't think that that would happen, and it did. Under Bobby Jindal. You ready? All of us would talk about how things were back in the day when we had charity. We didn't have all those real homeless folks and all this stuff on the street like we got now, did we? We had some, don't get me wrong, but on every street corner, standing there with a sign, working for food, need a beer or whatever, we didn't have it like that when charity was open because they had the ability to get into charity and help them with their mental health issues. Am I right or wrong? Somebody tell me I'm right. Go ahead on, G. Thank you very much. So charity was the saving grace to me for New Orleans. All right, here comes Katrina. Bam. Charity had a real problem. Oh, it flooded here, flooded there, flooded there. But General Honore got his men to clean that thing inside and out after the storm. And Bobby Jindal came in and said, we're not going to use it again, are we? Y'all remember that? Boy, General Honore was pissed. Because it provided the city with not only trauma, how to reduce trauma, gunshot wounds, stabbing wounds. Hell, they said charity was so great that if in this area, that if the president is in this area and he got shot, he was going to charity. Right? What was it on the 3rd floor of Charity Hospital? Crazy.
Psychiatric ward.
Huh?
Crazy floor.
Yeah.
Your home.
Yeah.
He said your home.
Yeah. He got that. But I'm just saying, we all knew that charity housed mental health patients on the 3rd floor, correct? Bobby Jindal didn't reopen the hospital. Bobby Jindal shut down mental health clinics and mental health hospitals in the state on this side in New Orleans. Then what had happened? We had to send all the folks that needed mental health help over the North Shore. Well, folks started complaining because they were saying, I can't get there. I don't have a ride. I can't come see my loved one. And they were far from home. They were on the other side, on the North Shore. All right, there you go. Now, y'all think about this scenario. If we can't fund our jail, then anybody that gets arrested will probably end up in a jail that, because we do have them here, in a jail that is for profit, or you will be shipped to the Louisiana State Prison. And I don't know if you all just saw the story, but I said I was going to pull it up so that you can see it. That Liz Merrill is raising holy hell right now because she wants 17-year-olds to go to jail, an adult prison. Y'all saw that story? Anybody else saw that story? Adult prison. So if we can't get this millage done and the city's saying we can't afford it, the state ain't going to say, oh, no, let me give you some money. No, they're going to say, sorry, send them up here with us. We'll take care of them. But if anybody goes to the Louisiana Illuminator, the headline is Louisiana Attorney General wants to move more teenagers from juvenile to adult court. That's the headline. It was actually written on Tuesday, April 22nd at 12:10 p.m. published. Louisiana Attorney General Liz Merrill wants state lawmakers to pass a new law that would transfer more 15 and 16-year-olds to district courts that handle adult cases. Attorney General Liz Merrill wants state lawmakers to pass a new law that would move hundreds, I didn't say a couple of them, I said hundreds of criminal cases with 15 and 16-year-old defendants from juvenile to adult courts every year. Where do you think they're going to put them? They ain't going to put them in OPSO. They're going to put them in the jails. You go into Louisiana State Prison, Plaquemine Parish. What's the other one? There's another one.
Chalmette, St. Bernard.
Yeah, that's where you're going. The request comes a few weeks after Louisiana overwhelmingly voted down a constitutional amendment that could have led to similar teenage transfers in the criminal justice system. Merrill included State Bill 74, Senate Bill 74, that is, sponsored by Senator Alan Seabaugh of Shreveport, in her package of bills that she's pushing during the Louisiana Legislature 2025 session. As currently written, it would automatically put 15 and 16-year-olds charged with felony crimes who currently go before juvenile justice judges in front of district court judges who typically handle adult defendants. Now, to my friends that are here today, let me be the first to let you know that court here in New Orleans looks a whole lot different than court in other parishes. I'll never forget. I went to a court. Where was I? I had to go to court, and I was being sued. I had to go to court in Houma. And I had never been down there. So, I'm thinking that court there is just like court here. Let me be the first one to tell you that even the bailiff talked to you crazy. Because they put all of us in a big old room before you go into the courtroom. And he walks around like Barney Fife. And he looks at all, and it ain't nothing but us up in there. I'm sorry, ain't nobody white, ain't nobody Asian. And I was like, how black people ended up in court and ain't nobody else ended up in court? So y'all know I'm ignorant before I get there. So I'm looking, this white guy's the bailiff. He walking around the court, got on his little uniform, got his gun on his side, got his hands on his hip. He looking at everybody and it's like, put your shirt in your pants. And I said, excuse me? Put your shirt in your pants and buckle up that. I'm like, okay, this is where we going. When a judge talks to you, you answer him, yes, sir, and no, sir. You got me? It's like, all right. So I'm basically there to say, I don't want to pay this traffic ticket because I got a traffic ticket, and I wanted to fight it. I wasn't there for other reasons, but there were some young men that were there for reasons that they said, sir, before you lock me up, this is so and so and so and so and so and so. And the judge had 20 of us at one point. Called my name. I stood up. And he asked me a question, innocent or guilty? Da, 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 da. I said, no, sir. I'm innocent. And before I knew it, Barney Fife stood up and said, speak up. God was on my side that day. He was. He really was on my side that day because I started to say, shut up. I would have been calling, Suzette, I need you to come down here and get me. But I'm in there, and I'm listening to him, and I'm listening to these other cases before me. It was about 5 other cases. I think 4 out of 5 of those cases were in child support court. And them guys was going in there so confident. Your Honor, this ain't my baby. I need to have a DNA test and da-da-da-da. Shoot, I was looking at them, but next thing I know, the judge said, you owe $10,000 in back child support. He says, it's not my child, sir. I'm asking you if it's okay for the court. No, it's not okay. You should have thought about that before you laid down with her. Lock him up. They were locking up guys in the court, putting cuffs on them and taking them out and putting them in holding cells. I was like, damn. They were going in there so confident, but they were leaving out of there in handcuffs and saying, somebody call my mama. Crying. Somebody call my mama. I was like, is everybody in Homer, everybody that did something bad in Homer, black? Because that's all that was in court. But I'm telling y'all, I think, this is what I think. I do think that there is a larger conspiracy than just this millage. They using this millage to make it sound like this thing, oh no, y'all need to get rid of that millage, no new taxes, because they knew that we were going to use it with no new taxes, and those amendments pissed people off. And now here you go with the whole new issue of let's set up some signs, because if you're operating under the law, you know you put out signs, you have to have on the bottom of that side paid for by. And somebody didn't put it out there. I sure would like to know who was it that taught the reverends all that misinformation that they put out. I sure would like to know who was out there teaching these folks all this misinformation. But tomorrow at 10 o'clock, now Friday morning at 10 o'clock, y'all better pay attention because they're going to have a press conference. And they're going to have a press conference and kind of tell you about it. I'm trying not to tell my scenario theory because that's what it is, a scenario theory. Y'all believe in that scenario theory too? Y'all better not leave me out here by myself with this scenario theory. Because I do believe that that's where we headed. And if I can take you and make you believe that this is the worst thing in the world and you don't vote for it, and then the OPSO goes away, and then all those young men after Liz Merrill is saying, oh, yeah, by the way, give me the 15 and 16-year-olds too. And did you hear them say in this story that we have hundreds of 15 and 16-year-olds that are facing some type of jail time or have to go in front of the judge? Hundreds of them. That's going to be your young men and women that's going to end up in adult prison. They didn't say they're going into adult jails. They said they're going into adult prison and getting adult prison sentences. Opponents said the bill would throw 4 of the state's largest court systems in Orleans, Jefferson, East Baton Rouge, and Caddo parishes into chaos. Those jurisdictions have juvenile courts with judges who solely handle cases involving people under 17. Guess what that does? Let me read it again just in case you didn't hear me. All right, here it is. Opponents said the bill would throw 4 of the state's largest court systems, and I'm going to throw a little scenario in here while I'm reading this. Opponents said the bill would throw 4 of the state's largest court systems in Orleans, mostly black, Jefferson, now it's 50-50, East Baton Rouge, mostly black, and Caddo parishes, Shreveport, mostly black, into chaos. Those jurisdictions have juvenile courts with judges who solely handle their cases involving people under the age of 17. So, how many judges is that? Would that be Judge Darrensburg? Because we got a section of judges for juveniles, right? So if we take those cases from from those kids that are 15, 16-year-old, what is that going to do? Come on, y'all. I hope y'all thinking on this. If we take all those 15, 16-year-olds that get in trouble away from the juvenile courts and the judges, where the judges going to go? We got a state that's already saying we need to get rid of some of the judges in Orleans Parish. If I get rid of the kids and you're a juvenile court judge, guess where you are? Unemployed and all non-void. Won't need you no more. You are out. And in quotes here, let me give you this. It says, children are not simply tiny adults that can handle an adult criminal court, said Paul Young, a retired Caddo Parish juvenile court judge who opposes Liz Merrill's legislation. Other parts of the state would also feel that the effects of the proposal in some parts of Louisiana, city and parish courts handle cases with teenagers under 17, like juvenile courts. Their authority over 15 and 16-year-olds facing felony allegations would be transferred to district courts focused on the adults if the bill passes. Yeah, this ain't tomorrow. This ain't 2 years from now. This Senate bill already been put through. Senate Bill 74. It's a new law. This is what they trying to do. Take it over. How can we do that? Well, we introduce bills to take over the 15 to 16-year-olds. Then it's going to be a real issue. Oh, God, I got some I know too much. It's going to be a real issue because OPSO is still under consent decree, right? The federal government put the jail under a consent decree, at least 8-9 years ago. So guess what the sheriff has to follow? She has to follow the feds. The feds make the rules. But if your state is coming in and saying, oh, yeah, put the 15 and 16-year-olds in an adult jail, she can't do it. She got to follow the rules of the consent decree. All right, let's go a little bit further into this. I'm telling you, this is a whole lot more deep than what you know, and this ain't just about the millage. The millage is the undertone. And I think that at some point in time, they using the millage to give you misinformation to make you say, it's terrible. No, what's terrible is that they're hiding this millage to make you think that, oh yeah, this is going to be rough. All right. How many of y'all got children that get into some type of trouble, 15, 16-year-olds? Because I'm telling you, it's probably going to go lower before it even gets higher. And next thing you know, they're going to be saying, oh, what about 13 and 14-year-olds? This is the best way for you to say, oh, yeah, by the way, I ain't going to vote for that. Really? When the money goes away, so does the jail. And all the reform programs, all the reentry programs, all of the things that are going on now in that jail to help you when you get out. Even think about something. I know we got Major Minto over there. Major is, her passion is making sure that she can help those that have become victims. Let's say your child or somebody in your family gets killed. She's going to make sure that somebody's paying attention to it and not leaving you feeling like you're alone. They just had a big old ceremony right at the Bayou last week to making sure that you are not alone and bringing all of those folks together to let them know they appreciate it. All that goes away. If you don't have the millage money, that goes away. Can't help the folks that have lost loved ones. That goes away. It's too much to lose for the little money that's being generated. $13 million is not a lot of money, y'all, when it comes to operating a whole city, because OPSO is a city. It really is. You want to take a break? Want to take a break? Let's take a break. We'll take a break here, get you ready for the final few minutes before we get into Arnie and Carrie. Coming up in just a minute, right here on WBOK.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris. Tesla stock is in a nosedive. Profits have plunged 71% compared to this time last year, and Elon Musk says he's finally refocusing on Tesla, not Trump. After months moonlighting in the Trump White House leading Doge, Musk says he'll reduce his time with the agency next month. Now that comes as Tesla faces a 13% drop in sales and a 9% revenue loss. The company's stock is down nearly 40% this year. Who's to blame? Musk's political entanglements, fierce competition from China, and backlash to Trump's steep tariffs. Tesla owners are trading in their cars. Protesters worldwide are torching charging stations and targeting dealerships. Musk still defends lower tariffs, but says it's Trump's call. Critics say Musk's anti-government crusade through Doge is now eating away at his own empire. Will stepping back save Tesla, or is it too little too late? For these stories and more, go to AURN.com or follow me across social media at Ebony McMorris.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
As the French Quarter Festival was coming to a close, a 36-year-old man brazenly opened fire in front of New Orleans police officers, wounding 5 people. It is a horrifying reminder of how quickly joy and celebration can turn into chaos and fear. Now, what makes this incident even more disturbing is what it reveals about the law, or the lack of it. Earlier this year, you'll recall, the Louisiana State Legislature passed a law allowing permitless concealed carry. Now, that means anyone over 18 can legally carry a hidden firearm in public. No permit, no background check, no training required. Let that sink in. No authorization. No checking to see whether someone shouldn't have a gun. No training to make sure someone knows how to use a gun. Just a gun in their pocket, waistband, jacket, or on their ankle. Police are expected to manage crowded events, busy city streets, and tense situations without being able to question who's carrying a weapon until it's already too late. Their hands are tied, and we are left vulnerable. Any irresponsible ass with a gun is free to put your life and my life at risk. Now, this isn't about gun rights. It's about basic responsibility. Requiring permits and training isn't an infringement. Duh. It's just common sense. It protects the public, and it protects the officers who put their lives on the line every day. Now, if a man can open fire right in front of law enforcement during a festival, maybe it's time the state legislature admits this law needs a second look. This can't be about politics. This must be about public safety. It's time to give police a chance to protect us before lives are lost. This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
Didn't catch this morning's conversation? No worries. The Good Morning Show is now a podcast on all your favorite apps. Just search WBOK Media, find The Good Morning Show, and make it part of your daily routine. Download it, share it, and rate it 5 stars. Start your day with something real.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
Hi, this is Arnie Filko. Let's Elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events to sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join Carrie and I every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Carrie Show. See you soon.
Hey, Pontchartrain Park. Thanks for listening to WBOK.
The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I got it today. I really wanted to get that out today. My little commentary. Because that commentary wasn't just about one person or one entity. It was about a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm glad that a lot of folks, I got some pretty good feedback. And I'm glad I did. Just to let you know, too, just in case you didn't hear it earlier, let me put it out here that the Coalition of Community and Faith-Based Leaders, they are coming together Friday at 10 o'clock to denounce a wave of false and misleading information that's circling ahead of the May 3rd millage renewal by the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Susan Hudson will join the press conference to stand in solidarity with leaders who are demanding truth and transparency for the people of Orleans Parish. The press conference is going to be held near the Tremay Center in the 900 block of North Villeray, okay? Just in case you want to show up yourself. It's going to be held at the Tremay Center in the 900 block of North Villeray. This is going to put away these signs that are talking about some no new taxes. And I was listening to some of you. I think even when we ended yesterday's conversation, somebody was like, well, I just want to see what they're going to do with the money. What you want to see? You want to see how it pays for locks in the building? You want to see the money that it pays for us to be able to get equipment for the deputies. Oh, yeah, you know they got tasers now. They didn't have those either. So they had to get certified to be a taser. They had to get tased themselves. The deputies did, for them to be able to be certified to use it. So everybody that wanted to use a taser, put it on your gun belt. You had to stand there and let the instructor tase you. Yep, you get hit by those leads, and then they lay you out on the floor. Somebody said, well, did you get tased, G? No, sir. No, ma'am. That's not for me. Thank you for asking. No. I will, thank you. No. You might want to tell him. He don't know me that well to play with me yet. I bucked back. No, you gonna get bucked. Just saying. I'm just saying. You gonna be liable.
Hey, bro. Hey.
No, I don't care. Yeah. So, like I said, tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we will definitely be out there, 900 block of North Villeray, at 10 o'clock in the morning. We hope to see you there. So you be there. All right? So that you can get the information. Also, we have tomorrow, I thought she was going to call me, the big event happening here at Xavier University. Dr. Shepard wants to see you all at the UC tomorrow at noon. She has some special guests that are coming through, and she definitely will have a lot of good information for you. So, Dr. Shepard, I'm trying to make sure that you weren't supposed to call me and give me the information. So she is going to be calling in probably tomorrow morning or tomorrow for the front porch to give you all the information about her guest tomorrow at the UC. And at the UC, that's going to be the great information about Black history. All right. Grant Sachere and Phil Justin are going to be on tonight, 7 o'clock, for the NFL Draft edition of the Sports Report, and find out who the Black and Gold will be drafting in the year. You happy now? Very good, sir. Hey, I had another joke for you. Want to hear it?
Not really.
I'm good.
All right.
Because it ain't good.
I know.
It wasn't good. All right. So now, we got a lot of information that is coming out. A lot of things is going to be told. I'm hoping that you can either go and watch 12 noon tomorrow with Dr. Shepard. That's going to be great. And if not, come out to the Tremay Center, because we will have more information about all this stuff that is happening in the city with misinformation. It's interesting, y'all. It's real interesting. My scenario, making sure that we don't have these jails that are going to put you, your kids, 15, 16, 17-year-olds in jail. That's it. All right, that's going to wrap things up for me. We'll get you ready for the weekend on tomorrow. So be here or be square tomorrow. I'll be back at 4 p.m. tomorrow right here at WBOK.